election day in Egypt, the second round of parliamentary balloting. But in this working-class suburb of Cairo, few people seem to care.
ما فيش وبعدين كل الاحزاب انسحبت يبقى احنا كمان هنا يعني ما فيش احنا مش لاقيين لا شغل ولا قاعدين على الرصيف زي ما انت شايف كده فرشين ما فيش يبقى ندي بصوتنا ليه؟
اللي احنا شايفينه كله فساد 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 في الانتخابات. ازاي اروح انتخب واحد بيديني فلوس؟
انا مشاكل الدائره بتاعتي ما بقاش موجوده. محدش بيحلها لي. محدش بيقدم لي خدمات. فصوتي ساعتها مش هيكون ليه لازمه.
Enthusiasm for elections is negligible in a country where one man has ruled for 3 decades. The government party won 95% of the seats in first-round elections, marred by accusations of fraud and intimidation. The opposition decided to boycott the second-round runoffs.
And secondly, on Egypt, there's reports of massive fraud in the parliamentary elections, and I don't know, it doesn't even sound like the opposition has won any seats. How much?
Which country are we talking about?
Egypt.
You know, we have serious concerns about what occurred.
But the Obama administration is not concerned enough to touch the nearly $2 billion in foreign aid the U.S. government gives Egypt to ensure it remains a pliant ally.
The United States and Egypt have worked together closely for many years. And for many of those years, President Mubarak has been a leader and a counselor and a friend to the United States.
29 years to be exact. Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak has outlasted 4 U.S. presidents, Democrats and Republicans. But the United States has begun hedging its bets, funding opposition groups and NGOs critical of the government like this electoral monitoring organization.
A lot of groups, they are whether funded or supported by the USAID, technically supported by IRI, the International Republican Institute, the NDI.
But the amount the U.S. invests in so-called democracy promotion is a fraction of the money it funnels into Egypt's military. It's not hard to see why few policymakers in Washington want to see Mubarak go. The only opposition group with significant popular support boasts the motto, "Islam is the solution." The Muslim Brotherhood is arguably the world's most influential Islamic movement, an ally and supporter of Palestine's Hamas, and a fierce critic of U.S. policy in the region. A week ago, Mohammed el-Baltagi was campaigning for a seat in parliament for the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, he's telling people not to vote.
التزوير الفج اللي العالم كله شافه واللي انتوا عشتوه يوم الحد اللي فات احنا محتجين ضده فاحنا مقاطعين الانتخابات ومش هنخش الجوله الثانيه بما في ذلك اللي عندهم حق الاعاده.
Not a single Muslim Brotherhood candidate won in the first round of elections, and Baltagi was among the losers. But you never know it this night. This is Shobra, a massive area of narrow dirt streets, alleyways, and brick apartment blocks, home to an estimated 5 million people, and a stronghold of the Muslim Brotherhood. People here complain of unemployment, stagnant wages, rising food prices, decaying infrastructure, and an unresponsive and corrupt government. Baltagi and the Brotherhood have filled the void, quietly and methodically winning popular support among the poor by providing healthcare, medicine, education, and food. The government has banned the Muslim Brotherhood, and its candidates are forced to run as independents. Even still, 5 years ago, Baltagi was one of 88 Muslim Brotherhood members to win a seat in parliament. It was the most significant opposition victory in an election since Hosni Mubarak came to power 3 decades ago. But the group has paid a price. The government arrested more than 1,200 Brotherhood members in the weeks before this year's elections, blocked their candidates from running, broke up campaign rallies, and barred their delegates from monitoring the voting. The Muslim Brotherhood usually campaigns at night to avoid repression by security forces. During the day, Hosni Mubarak and his National Democratic Party rule Shobra.
الحكومة؟ لا الحكومة زي الفل. والله. ناس زي العسل يعني. إيه؟ إزاي؟ هو في حد يقدر يغلط في الحكومة يعني؟
انتخابات نزيهة جدا جدا. أحلى انتخابات في مصر، أحلى انتخابات في مصر. والله؟ مصر انتخاباتها مظبوطة.
لا الحكومة حلوة ومية مية. بنتخب بإذن الله مجاد نصار. لأن راجل بيعمل شغل في البلد.
لا هو راجل خير جدا أهو، خير جدا، الصور بتاعته على الحيطان كلها.
This is the local headquarters for the ruling party's candidate in Shobra, Megahed Nassar. With the Muslim Brotherhood's withdrawal, his seat in parliament is all but assured.
على أساس يساعدوهم في الزواج. طبعا عملت انتشار جامد في الدائرة كلها من 3-4 سنين أو 5 سنين تقريبا. في كل بيت تقريبا عارفين الاسم مجاهد نصار. فمن خلال كده
Beltagi's headquarters look shabby in comparison. Political activities are held here, but the space doubles as a sort of social services center. Shobra residents come here to get free medicine from the pharmacy or a checkup from Beltagi himself, an ear, nose, and throat doctor. The Muslim Brotherhood has existed since the 1920s and has faced far worse repression in the past. Beltagi says the social and religious movement is ready to wait for change indefinitely, while continuing to strengthen its base of support.
بطبيعة الإخوان متفائلون يعني عندهم حالة من الأمل والثقة في قدرتهم وقدرة الآخرين معا على إحداث الإصلاح والتغيير ولو بعد حين. طبيعة الإخوان أنهم يعملون بطريقة متدرجة غير متعجلة.
A U.S. diplomatic cable released last month by WikiLeaks suggests that Hosni Mubarak considers the Muslim Brotherhood his most dangerous political threat. But Beltagi insists the Brotherhood is a non-violent movement that has stated its commitment to democracy, political pluralism, and religious tolerance.
النظام المصري من يعني حدود 2005 أو قبلها بقليل بيحاول يحافظ على بقائه ودعم الخارج لبقائه من خلال الادعاء بأن الإخوان قادمون، وإذا ما أجريت انتخابات حرة في مصر فالإخوان سيصلوا إلى الحكم في اليوم التالي. هو يحاول يفزع الرأي العام في الخارج، يحاول يفزع الطوائف غير المسلمة في مصر من ذلك لدعم بقائه في موقعه عبر السنين.
حسني مبارك المسؤول. حسني مبارك المسؤول.
The day before the second round runoff, Beltagi joined with other opposition leaders to denounce the elections. Many members of Egypt's secular political parties and left-leaning opposition groups expressed concern about how a Muslim Brotherhood-led government would apply Sharia law. But everyone here seems to agree the Egyptian people should be given a chance to decide for themselves in elections recognized as free and fair. It doesn't appear that that will happen anytime soon. On Sunday, with the results all but decided before the polls opened, security guards and election officials outnumbered voters.
مدى الإقبال يعني حاليا بنسبة 0.5% أو 1% عن المرة اللي فاتت.
1,000 people were registered to vote in this polling station, but only a dozen had cast their ballots by the early afternoon. Hosni Mubarak's National Democratic Party could secure more than 90% of the seats in parliament, which will authorize candidates eligible for next year's presidential election. Many Egyptians assume Mubarak will either run for re-election or endorse his son, Gamal. Hosni Mubarak's ruling party dominated these elections, but whether or not it can be considered a victory is another matter. The opposition had been divided on the question of whether to boycott the vote or participate in a process that some critics characterize as an elaborate political theater, staged to appease the international community and especially the United States. Now, the opposition is united in denouncing elections that were even less credible than expected, and the plot for next year's presidential contest is more predictable than ever. For The Real News in Cairo, Egypt, this is Lindsay.